And welcome back, everybody, to Let's Play Splatoon. In the last episode, we took a look at all the amiibo content in the game, and, well, we pretty much finished up the single-player portion of Splatoon. In today's episode, we're going to be looking at starting to look at the multiplayer portion of Splatoon. And, boy, this is kind of a big section of the game. This is kind of what you play the game for in general. It's not only for its really good single-player campaign and whatnot, but it has a vast, very complex multiplayer. I wouldn't say complex, but it's got a very fun multiplayer mode that is really good and a lot of fun. So before we start anything, let's go ahead and start off the game like normal. And once we start the game off, the Squid Sisters will have their, broadcast that they usually do. As Callie Maria says, "Hold on to your tentacles, it's Inkopolis news time. Let's unveil the current regular battle stages. Alright. Just grab a high ground and it'll be easy win. That salt spray rig is what an amateur say. Then they get splatted. But just don't stick to the low ground either. Okay, Marie. Give us your very best tactical tip. Winning is temporary, but looking cool is forever. And now for the current ranked battle stages. Splat-tastic. I wonder what our old co-workers are up to now. Everyone was so nice even when we messed up. Oh my gosh, look, Marie. That outfit is adorbs. That reminds me, don't window shop during battle. Until next time, stay fresh. So basically, they go over the modes that are playing in the lobby right now. As you guys can probably see, I'm on a different profile right now. And, well, that's because I'm on my regular profile play the game. Because I can't really show off everything, unfortunately, on brand new profile. And I'll get into that more here in a minute. But the first thing I kind of want to talk about is, obviously, the main attraction to this, and that's the lobby. If you come into the middle building here, you're presented with a menu. And it kind of gives you options of going into regular battle, which is just turf war. You could join up with your friends in private battle, which allows you to play, have like a party with your friends. And you can join your friends in turf war. Then you have ranked battle. Ranked battle is a mode that will not unlock until you're at least level 10. I do believe, if I remember correctly. After every battle, you get experience points and you level up. And there's a lot of stipulations on how to unlock some certain things based on your level. The main thing is getting ranked battle. Ranked battle is more competitive battle, and I'll get into more of that when we get into actual videos over the ranked battle modes. But I just wanted to let you guys know that you have to be level 10 to even unlock this. So make sure you do that. Squad battle is joining up in teams of 2 or teams of 4 with your friends to do ranked battle. You can only do 2 or 4. You can't do 3. So we'll get into more detail that later when we go over here. I just wanted to show you this is what the menu looks like. And you can push the plus button to equip your gear that you have on. I have this splatter shot here, this wasabi splatter shot, and my clothes here. I'll go into more detail of what this stuff is here in just a second, but this is how you change your equipment and whatnot. But yeah, that's pretty much the lobby. I don't want to kind of go over anything else. The other thing you could do is you can kind of look out and see what other maps are rotating in ranked battle, because every about 2 hours the maps change. So yeah, I'll get in more detail about that in the actual multiplayer videos, but I just wanted to show you what the lobby is. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about here in Inkopolis is obviously the characters here. The characters here are other players that you have played in multiplayer. They'll show up in your lobby, and you can kind of get an idea of what level they were at, what rank they are in ranked mode, as well as the weapons and gear they have on. Now, this can go into more detail, but we'd have to time travel back to like 2015, 2016, because this lobby is a lot more livelier back then. As of right now, as you can see, there's not really much like liveliness with these characters. A lot of these are just, standard users that are playing the game right now and everything else. But back then, the game actually collaborated with Miiverse, which is over here with this little post here. You could post to Miiverse, and when Miiverse was active. And in the lobby, a lot of the characters here that you see would have Miiverse posts attached to them a lot of the time. You can, like their artwork. A lot of people put their artwork and whatnot in here. So you can kind of get an idea, people can express themselves in certain ways in the game. And I really love the little community that Splatoon actually had, because a lot of them were funny memes and stuff like that, and that's one thing I really liked about the Splatoon community, was the vast array of artwork you would see when you booted up the game and you get the lobby. But that's not the only thing with these characters that you could do. You can actually look at the gear that they have and order it, but I'll go into more detail over that when we get to the character assigned to that. I just wanted to tell you guys you can order their gear. I'll go into more detail about that here in a minute. The next thing I wanted to talk about is the shops here. There's 4 shops in Inkopolis, and you can go into any other shop here, and you can just, walk on in, and you'll get to, meet some characters here. Like this is the shoe store, the Shrimp Kick shoe store, and it is led by Krusty Sean here. Krusty Sean is a character that's actually a recurring character in this series. Krusty Sean sells you shoes, and that's not the only thing. These shoes are basically gear that you can have your character wear. Your character can wear a shirt, some shoes, and a hat. And it's not just for a fashion statement. You can make it a fashion statement if you want to. But it is actually worth your while to look at the gear that he offers, because each gear comes with a main ability and up to 3 sub-abilities. Abilities are perks that you can put on your character during multiplayer matches. As you can see, some of these up here, like Ink Resist Up and stuff like that. You can push info by pushing the X button, and it kind of tells you what the ability does. There's a vast array of abilities in this game. There's a lot of them, and it'd be kind of a daunting task to go over every single one of them, and I kind of want to just kind of give you an idea about that. But every weapon every gear has a main ability, which is the one that is attached to it and will stay permanently attached to it. The other ones, the sub-abilities, are like secondary effects that you can put on your characters. And it's the same abilities as the main ones, but they kind of have lesser effect, I guess, in the best way I can do it. And you can actually change them with a method we'll go over later. But yeah, there's a shoe shop, and if you push R, we'll go over to the clothing shop. We'll go to Jellyfresh here, and you could talk to Jalonzo here. I didn't mean to push that. Jalonzo is the owner of the t-shirt show, of the clothing store, and you can buy some stuff like this. And it's it's kind of gives you main abilities and everything else. These gears are nothing more to add support to your character in multiplayer matches. And not only that, you look pretty cool wearing the shirts and everything else. Each item has a branding, like as you can see on the top right corner of the item there, it says Firefin. The branding really doesn't matter what it is, it's just branding in this world of Splatoon. It doesn't really have an effect on it. I just know that some brandings have more, I think the only difference is the brandings have more certain abilities attached to their clothing than other ones. So just keep that in mind. And if we push R again, we'll talk to Annie here. Annie owns the cap shop, and you can use it to buy a beanie cap. I'm actually going to go ahead and buy this beanie cap because I actually like it. Let's go ahead and equip it. Yeah, there we go. Annie gives you a beanie cap, and it has an ability that's, "You'll be back, Mo." I love Mo. Mo is a clownfish that lives in Annie's hair. But yeah, you can actually buy these and kind of make your character look, fresh. You can rotate it with the right stick. You can actually try it on by pushing the right stick in. Squid Girl cap. Oh, that's a special collaboration event thing that Nintendo did a long time ago. Squid Girl hat is actually a collaboration with, I think, Famitsu, if I remember correctly, back when the game was ongoing. But yeah, that's pretty cool. But yeah, you can actually you could try it on by pushing the R button, and you can see what the clothing item looks like on your character and everything else. Again, if you push X, you get info on what the abilities do. Each ability, as you can see, the sub-abilities have question marks. You will not know what the sub-ability is until you get experience for this gear. How you get experience for this gear is to simply wear it during matches. After you get a certain enough experience, your sub-ability will be rolled. If you roll it, it'll do a roulette and choose a sub-ability for you. And you don't have any say over this, it's just random. So just keep that in mind. If you don't like what your ability is on this, there is a way to change that, and we'll get into that more. But the last shop I want to go over, after explaining all the clothing and shoes and hats and everything else, the last thing I wanted to go over is the last shop, the weapon shop. This is Sheldon. And he's not doing it right now, but he is a jabberbox. Sheldon is the weapon curator of Ammonites. He sells you a variety of weapons, and they do a lot of things. Splatoon is not just limited to splatter shots. No, we kind of went over this in the last episode with the amiibo, but you can have chargers, which are sniper rifles. You can have rollers, which are close combat weapons. You can have a Hydra Splatling, which is a long-distance Gatling gun. You can have a bucket. You can literally just throw buckets of ink on your enemies. There's a Nozzle News. Nozzle News is it has a pretty good range and everything else, and it does a lot of damage. But when you go look at all of Sheldon's gear here, it isn't sold just the weapon. No, they sell you a kit. The weapon kit has not only the weapon, but it has a sub-weapon and a special attached to it. Each weapon has a certain thing attached to it. You cannot change this, you cannot choose it, you can't get a certain loadout like in other multiplayer games. Whatever weapon you buy, you're stuck with that kit. You cannot change the loadout. So if you wanted to master a certain thing, if you want a certain play style, you have to kind of play around with everything else. I actually got the Octobrush here. I don't have that weapon, but we'll go ahead and do that. If you push you can rotate your character. You can try it on. You can look and see what your character looks with the Octobrush on. Info kind of gives you the info of what the weapon does. An Octobrush with a new set of sub and special weapons that let you attack from afar, soaring up the weaknesses of the weapon type. But if you push the Y button, you can actually go ahead and test this weapon. If you test this weapon, you'll go to a different screen. And you get a little arena to test out the weapon in question. This is kind of like a try it before you buy it kind of thing. You have little play dummies here of how people act in multiplayer here, and you can just play the weapon here. I should kind of go over the controls of how multiplayer works. Just like in the regular game, you just cover the ground in ink. Your goal here is to simply, cover the ground as much as the ink, and that builds up the gauge in the right-hand corner. The upper right-hand corner. That gauge is your special gauge. And if you fill up your special gauge by inking enough ground of the ground and getting enough points, it'll become charged. If you push the right stick, you'll be able to do your special, which is the Inkzooka here. You can actually just go ahead and use the Inkzooka here. But as soon as you do that, it's on a timer and it'll gradually go down. But once you use your special, you'll have to go ahead and do it up again. If you push the R button, you can throw your sub-weapon, which is a splat bomb. And you can kind of just, take a gander at it like this. Later games, when you go in your ink to hide, you'll notice your ink thing there, your ink refill charge there. In later games, there's a line on one of them. The line indicates how much your sub-weapon will take once you throw it. In Splatoon 1, they don't have this, and I really wish that they did in Splatoon 1. But yeah, that's pretty much that. Your sub-weapon takes a vast majority. Your ink tank, like that, I threw a splat bomb and took a majority of my ink. But yeah, that's pretty much that. How multiplayer kind of works for the most part. Is your goal here, playing, not the goal of the game, is to just, you know, attack your enemies with the ZR button, and, you know, kind of build up your special meter and use your specials and use sub-weapons if you need to see fit. There's, like I said, there's a vast variety of weapons, and I couldn't go over all of them. If you want a good explanation of every weapon, I really would suggest watching Chugga Conroy's Let's Play of Splatoon 1, because he goes over every single weapon in the game, every sub-weapon, every special, and everything else, and see, kind of gives you advice on what games you want to do that. So if you need like a full detailed, I would really suggest watching Let's Play. But anyways, let's go ahead and exit here. Let's go ahead and exit the testing arena. Now that we've kind of go over here. Once you buy a weapon, Sheldon will, you know what? Just for the sake of it, I'm buying the carbon roller. And you can kind of equip it right now if you want to do that. Thank you, I know you'll be good. Okay, well, he doesn't do it now. But if you want it, once you get certain levels with Sheldon here, you have to get certain weapons. You have to be a certain level in order to use the said weapons. I think some of these weapons here, you have to be like level 20 or something like that, level 10, level 15. It goes in increments, and it'll kind of highlight what the level needs to be over the weapon if you do so. And once you unlock those weapons and you come into the store to buy them, Sheldon will go on a long spiel of what the weapon, sub-weapon kit does. And there's no way to skip this. It's unfortunate, but there is no way to skip this. And it's kind of just, you have to bash through it if you already know what the sub is and everything else. I really would suggest, you know, just playing around and see what kind of weapons you really like and what weapons you don't like. And just kind of get your niche and whatnot. But yeah, that's pretty much the Ammo Knife weaponry. There is one more thing I would want to mention about this place, is those special Sunken Sea Scrolls that we got in single player with the bosses in particular, and we got the Sunken Sea Scrolls. Those unlock weapons here. Yes, if you complete story mode, you are guaranteed, and you get the Sunken Sea Scrolls from all the bosses, you are guaranteed at least, you know, 5 extra weapons. I'll put them up on the screen right here, what those weapons are. But yeah, you will unlock them automatically. So I just wanted to kind of tell you guys that in particular. Alright, so that's enough of talking about Ammo Knights. But there is a couple other things I kind of want to go over here in Inkopolis. That's most of the majority of the things here. There's a couple other things up here up this ramp. This is the local battle arena. This is for local play with your friends. I'll be going over this in detail in a video later, so just keep that in mind. And if you come up here, you'll see that the Squid Sisters are hanging out. If you zoom in with the ZL or the ZR button and just kind of stare at them for a while, they will eventually wave at you. It took them a minute, but yeah, you can kind of see the Squid Sisters up there, and you know, you see the fans and everything else. But yeah, that's all that's up here. The last thing the couple last things I want to talk about is this character down here. This character down this kind of creepy alleyway here. This is Spike. If we talk to Spike, this happening, mate. Won't you be it then? I did forget, before we go into Spike, I forgot to mention something. The gear here in the stores, last little tidbit I want to talk about with the stores. You cannot order any gear until you're level 4. Forgot to mention that. You have to be level 4 in multiplayer to even buy gear. So you have to play a little bit of multiplayer before you can even come into the stores. They'll kick you out. You're not fresh enough. I forgot to mention that. Sorry about that. Kind of just a quick little headway there. But the last thing I want to talk about is this character down here in this alleyway. This is Spike. Sappening, mate. What'll be then? Spike has this interesting shop here. Spike can order some gear and mess with your slots on your gear. if you come over here to orders, it says you ain't ordered anything. Go to the folks at Plaza with A and order with stuff with X. Okay, so Spike is able to go and order gear that you see on a character. Good enough, there's a character right here. If you come over here and see a person in the lobby and you like their gear that they're wearing right now, you can push the X button to order their gear. And Spike will say, something fancy, love? Yeah, you can go ahead and order. I'm going to go ahead and order this Wood Girl tunic. And it says, alright, I can only get one item a day, so come around later, yeah? Okay. So you can order gear that you see on other players. And Spike will kind of put it in a layaway, in a sense. And you have to wait one full day to get that item. Spike will come back a day later and will give you the item in particular. But only one item. You can only do one item at a time. So just keep that in mind. It says, sorry, love, but I need a little time to find the stuff you ordered. Come back tomorrow, yeah? Alright, so that's what that does. The most important thing with Spike that Spike does is slots. So what gear you want a new slot in, it'll cost you 1 Super Sea Snail. Or I can reroll abilities on items with full slots. Okay, so Super Sea Snails. If you look at the top right-hand corner, underneath my rank, my rank right there, there's a little, like, character you probably saw Spike was surrounded with right there, and I have 56 of that. That is a Super Sea Snail. Super Sea Snails are items that you need in order to get your character to add more sub-abilities to a gear. So like the short beanie I just bought, I can use a Super Sea Snail and it'll cost 1 in order to add another slot. As you can see, I can add another slot to it, and it'll get more experience and basically add more abilities on the gear that you have. So let's go ahead and use that. Booyah! Boom! So now my beanie cap has 2 sub-abilities to it. And you can do this up until it has 3. Booyah, there you go. So, like, I used 2 Super Sea Snails right there. Super Sea Snails are actually really rare items that were only available during Splatfest. Splatfest was an online event that happened about, like, once every few months, and it lasted about 24 to 48 hours, depending on what Splatfest it was, and you had to pick a team. It had a theming to it. It asked you which one do you prefer. Like, the first one was dogs and cats, and I'll go in more detail about this in a later video because it was actually a kind of spectacular event. But whatever team you were on, you got a reward based on how well that team did. You got Super Sea Snails as a reward, and that was the only way you could get it for a while. I do believe that now, in order to get a Super Sea Snail, you need to have you need to get it from Judd after winning 30 consecutive battles, I think, if I remember correctly. If you win 30 consecutive battles, Judd will give you a Super Sea Snail. So that's how you get it now, because Splatfest don't happen anymore. But that's not the only thing that you can use the Super Sea Snails for. Super Sea Snails you can use to reroll slots. If your gear has full slots of abilities, sub-abilities, and you don't like them, like, I don't really like the ones on this sporty bobble hat here. It says, it looks like you got abilities on 3 slots. Want me to re-roll them then? It'll cost a Super Sea Snail to do so, but if you re-roll it, it'll change all 3 abilities and kind of get another kind of chance at the re-rolling here. So that actually kind of was a little bit better. So, in a sense, you can turn bad gear into good gear, essentially, by doing that. It takes a chance to do it, but you know what? If you don't like the abilities on it, you might as well go ahead and spend a Super Sea Snail to change them up again. So that's kind of how you powered up your gear to kind of help you out. You can use any gear that you want to, as long as you like the sub-abilities on said gear. Now, like I said before, the main ability that's on the gear, you cannot change that. You cannot change that. It is stuck on that weapon, or stuck on that gear. So, if you don't like the main ability, well, you're going to have to change your gear then. But yeah, that's pretty much what Spike does. Spike allows you to kind of fix gear and kind of make your gear stronger with Super Sea Snails. So that's pretty much that in a nutshell. I really like using Super Sea Snails to power up my gear and everything else. It just makes my gear look a lot better, and I can actually wear stuff that I like on my character. But that is not the only thing. There's one more thing I kind of want to go over with the within the Inkopolis square here, and I'm gonna have to have some help in order to do so. Alright, so with the arcade cabinet in the corner here, you can use this arcade cabinet to kind of play like 4 mini games that you can play on your gamepad, and you can actually play these mini games during, matchmaking lobby while you're waiting too. The 4 mini games are Squid Jump, Squid Ball, Squid Racer, and Squid Beats. Now, I don't have a way to record this properly because I don't have a way to record my gamepad in a convenient fashion. So I asked my good friend Sonic64 to join me with this, and he's gonna show off the games with a gamepad. He can record the gamepad, so.
Yep, so that's what we're going to be doing. So hey guys, I'm Sonic Ghost, and we're going to immediately jump into our first of the 4 games. So what do you get by default by just owning Splatoon? Squid Jump. So this game, as I mentioned, this one you can have by default, and it's a little jumper game essentially. So you're just jumping to get to the highest point. It's a climbing based game. It's something you would see a lot on phones, like say Sonic Jump.
It kind of reminds me a lot of Doodle Jump from mobile games.
That's another one.
Doodle Jump plays the same way. You push the ZR button to
ZR.
Charge a jump, and you jump up these ladders here. There's in later levels, there are going to be little power ups with little fish that kind of like work as like boost to your jump. And the main goal is to get to the Zapfish at the very end of the level. So. Yeah, that's pretty much that.
You still have to keep on moving, too, because there is water that's rising during this. So if you're stationary for too long, water will catch up and you will die. You have 3 lives until it's game over.
Yeah, and each stage has a high score thing. It's nothing more than bragging rights. And like I said, these mini games you can play on your gamepad while you're waiting for your lobby to load in multiplayer. This is strangely the only instance in this series that these games have been available to play, because the other games don't have these little mini games like this.
Like Splatoon 2's thing was you can just mess around with the buttons in a lobby and just screw up the music by doing that. And then Splatoon 3 you can literally just practice because you can just shoot around with targets in the lobby area, which is honestly the better thing to do than this.
Yeah.
This is fine and all, but I'd rather be able to practice up my skills before I go into a game. But it's still better than what Splatoon 2 did.
Yeah, which was
nothing. Literally nothing.
But this second game is called Squid Ball, which is nothing more than a volleyball clone, and I really don't know how to play this game very effectively. What's the goal of this? Just like you have to get the Zapfish over to the other side?
Well, essentially you're just trying to knock out as many of the jellyfish to get up the high score, but this one is really awkward to just kind of aim your shots with. So it's one of the more awkward games to play. It's my least favorite out of the 4.
Yeah, I can't play this game. It's not very
It's weird to control. Like that's the thing, because a lot of it's physics-based, and sometimes when you launch your Zapfish to shoot into the other jellyfish, it could just be in a bad spot, and it's just nothing you can do at that point. Or you can just have like the perfect gutter ball shot like I just did, comparing that to bowling, because I don't understand how that missed. Each round, your Zapfish does get bigger, so it makes it a little bit easier to hit the targets, and after a couple rounds, we're seeing now that the jellyfish will move, which could make it easier or harder, just depending where they're at.
Yeah. Jump over and try to get it. Oh, dang it.
When they start moving, I think it gets much harder to hit these things correctly.
Yeah.
'Cause you only get 3 lives for every attempt.
Yeah.
So after that 3rd ball, that's it.
And you just have to aim and get this one guy, which is really hard.
Yeah, because it's floating in the air, so it's a much harder target to hit. That's essentially what this mode is. Out of the 4, again, I say this is the hardest one, but it is still like a fun little distraction, like all the games.
Yeah. The 3rd minigame is Squid Racer. This one's really simple. It's just, you race the other squids.
Squid Racer! Remember that one?
Squid Racer. Oh, we're talking and my lip sync doesn't match up with my talking voice. I still remember that one clip from Speed Racer. It's like, oh, he's going over that ridge. Dah! And he falls off the cliff. But yeah, this one's real simple. You just have to race the other squids. You can quick drift in a way in this game. I don't remember what the button is.
It's ZR for accelerate and ZL for the drift. The problem I have with it is the AI. It's very, very fast. So it always feels like they're going to be out in front no matter what you're doing. Like, I played a perfect race there outside of one tiny bump, and I still did not get first. I was still very far behind. So that's the problem I have with this one, too. It's just, it feels a lot more cheated.
You're eating the other racers?
Yeah, some powers may make you you go faster, and then other powers can just essentially turn you into Pac-Man, and you just eat the other contestants. So it's a fun little mode. I just think it controls weird.
Yeah.
That's the problem I have with Squid Racer. It's just the controls are weird.
That's pretty simple. It's not as hard as Squid Ball.
Yeah. But this last one is very interesting because Squid Beats on its own, this is essentially just your sound test. But it's more than just that, too. So you can use this to listen to music in the game, which you can listen to pretty much the entire catalog of music, even the songs that are no longer playing in the game's proper rotation, like with the Splatfest music, for example. You can play that in this game by using this. So Ink Me Up is a song you're never going to hear anymore, but it will play via this mode. So this is a nice thing you can do while waiting for a game just to change up your songs, and I really miss this. This is a really, really nice thing to have when you're just sitting in a lobby for 5 minutes waiting for a game to queue.
Yeah, especially nowadays when it takes like 30 minutes to get queues to get up and everything.
Yeah. Having different songs play is kind of a must-have, because in my opinion nowadays, if I'm waiting for a game too long, I'll just mute the game source and just play my own music. Yeah. But that's not all you can do in this. You can technically also, if you hit ZL, you activate a minigame. So this is the rhythm game part of Squid Beats. And there's 2 difficulties. The one I'm playing right now is normal. So the notes move at a relative speed. They're not too fast, not too complicated. So this is the one I will play. This is fine. It's a fun little distraction. I love the icon changes for the actual meter too. It changes based on what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't like a good old rhythm game? So it's nice to have this.
Yeah. But that's normal. I want to show hard. Because this is like, help me. Help me. I can't even follow half of these notes. It's so fast.
It's like playing
so bad.
Through the Fire and Flames on Expert. Good God.
Yeah, it's very fast. And you have more combinations of notes that you can hit, too. Like, you have to hit the D-pad and the buttons at the same time. So that makes it harder, but there's no penalty for missing a note in this, thankfully.
Yeah, thankfully. They don't make you restart the song or anything. Like,
it doesn't even keep track of your score. They bring this back for Splatoon 2, and it's an actual, like, proper game, because there are scores you can get, and it will save it. But in Splatoon 1, it's just like a little novelty thing. You can do this. Sometimes you're just mashing, because it's literally that hard on hard mode. It's a lot. But, yeah, that's essentially just Squid Beats. The thing is, though, you can hear this music anytime without even needing the gamepad itself, because it will play that audio to your TV, thankfully. You're just not able to play the rhythm game unless you're using the said gamepad. And then that's when you can actually play the regular game. You have to look down. So this is one of those cases where this is more of a gimmick than anything else, but it's a fun gimmick while you're waiting for your games.
Yeah.
But that's all.
Yeah, that's all the. Yeah, that's all the mini games you can play on your gamepad and this little arcade cabinet. Like I said before, you can play these mini games on your gamepad while you're waiting for a lobby. So it provides you with some entertainment.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's pretty much that. Thank you, Lester, for recording this for me, because I had a hard time trying to get this footage.
Yeah.
So.
Apologies for not being a rhythm god, but apparently you need to be a robot to do hard mode in this game. Not nearly as bad in the Splatoon 2 version of Squid Beats.
But yeah, that's pretty much that. But yeah, guys, that is it in Inkopolis here. We kind of gave the grand tour of everything in Inkopolis Square here. So that was kind of a long-winded explanation on how to do everything in here, but it kind of gets us prepared for the multiplayer battles ahead. Multiplayer battles ahead are kind of really hard games, and I'm not, like I said before, I'm not really good at this game, so please excuse my sloppy performance. I'm not good at Splatoon multiplayer, but I really do like it a lot, and I kind of wanted to share what it is, because this is like one of the few multiplayer games I actively play, and I do want to talk about that. And we got Dog Poo walking right in front of the camera as I'm doing my outro. That's just great. But yeah, that's pretty much it with Inkopolis. So in the next episode of Let's Play Splatoon, we are going to be starting up the multiplayer. We are going to be taking a look at the regular battle mode, which is Turf War. So with that, I will see you guys in the next episode. Take care, everyone.